Welcome back, boys and girls. This is Bunjaman Bok Choi bringing you another F1 23 ranked online video. Now, the races in today's videos are going to be a bit of a mashup between last week's race, or the last race of last week's division races, ranked online division races, and then a couple of this week's races in ranked online. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is the final race that I did at Spain. Now, I think I had enough points to be promoted into Silver 1 anyway, but because I didn't want to sit in Bronze for one more week, and it was only maybe mid-Sunday afternoon, I wasn't quite sure if people were going to jump on and do any more races. So I just wanted to get one more done. And once again, in qualifying at Spain, we don't have any force feedback. So somehow we still managed to stick in the top 5, currently top or P5 right now with about 9/10 gap. But in this final sector here, we must have worked some magic as we are moving up the positions now. P4 going into the final corner, and somehow we managed P2 without any force feedback once again. I don't know if this is a known bug, but I hope Cody's fixes this. So this is the last race on Sunday. We had to disconnect or power down the steering wheel to start it up again, and we got force feedback back. But the leader Phoenix here, or pole sitter here, had a really fast qualifying time, and he's starting on the medium, so I assume he's going to be much quicker than us, and he's gonna have the pace. So I'm trying to just not lose positions. I don't think I'm going to win the race. You have to be pretty confident to put the medium tires on, and you only do that if you know you're faster than everybody else. So we lose a position at the start of the race as per usual with us because we suck at race start. And now we're being attacked by the driver in P4 behind us. So gonna have to use a little bit of battery, and I know I say this all the time, I hate using a lot of battery on lap 1, but because we have cars so close behind us, we need to use some of that battery to overtake. Now we're still sitting under DRS to the cars in front, so I'm not too worried about that. Now we have to focus on the guys behind. But luckily for us, P5 and P6 are starting to push up to the driver in P4, and now he's gonna have to go defensive to not lose positions. In fact, I think he dropped down to P5. So yeah, we're about a half a second behind P2 and just about 3/4 of a second in front of P4. So we're in a pretty decent spot here. Like I said, at this point in the race, I was pretty sure we weren't going to win the race anyway. So at the very least, I want to be able to finish in second because in qualifying without force feedback, we were still able to secure P2. So I figured we had the pace. Jumping ahead now to the start of the third lap, and the driver in P2 has a really terrible exit on the final corner. So we don't have DRS right now, but we got plenty of battery. I decided to put the battery on and see if we can overtake. Now the arrows are blinking red and white, meaning he's just about to be behind us. So we continue on with the overtake. We can't use too much overtake because we only have about 30% left, so I waited until the second half of that right hand turn, and we managed to get out in front and secure P2. And as you can see now, P4 is starting to attack as well. That was pretty much it for that entire race. Phoenix in P1 was up by like 13 seconds or 14 seconds with about 3 laps left to go, and he made a mistake and he ended up dropping back and losing about 7 seconds. So this race looks a lot closer than it actually was. Phoenix was like 14 seconds ahead at one point, but he made a mistake, and that's the only reason why we're 7 seconds behind Phoenix. But he was really quick. Probably if we do the math, there's about 17 laps, and he was about 14 seconds ahead of us, and it was starting to sit at about 14 and a half seconds. So he was a good maybe 8 or 9/10 a lap faster than us, which would probably put him up there just right below the esports drivers and stuff like that. We managed to pull a gap about 10 seconds to P3, so we held our own as well. But even though we didn't win the race here, it was still enough points to allow us to get promoted to Silver 1, and so now we can face some closer competition in the ranked online races this week. So this was the last race for last week's ranked online races. Now the next race coming up was our first race in this current week's ranked online races. There was only one other driver, but there was a couple of things that happened in here that I thought was kind of stupid. One, right as the race starts, we crashed to desktop once again, and I hate it when that happens because sometimes it screws with the audio recording. So as you can see, I stopped the audio or the video recording of the game and started up again just to make sure that we have audio from the game. So because of that, we actually dropped down to 1.4 seconds behind. Now, we crashed to desktop once again, and I don't want to unpause the game while we're in a chicane, so I have to wait, and by the time we come back into the game, we are 2.5 seconds back. This guy, I think, was disqualified in qualifying, so I wasn't quite sure how fast he was, but we are starting to close the gap up now. I don't know if that was really accurate, the 2.5 second gap, as we're starting to close that gap really, really quickly here. And I don't know if you're going to see it in here, but it did seem like he cut a bunch of corners as well. So, and track extended, as you see there, he's just way off the track. So, I see that right away, and I'm like, God, even if we get in front of this guy, he's probably going to be another one of those guys that just cuts corners and track extends and manages to stay with us because he's not staying on the track. Cody, please, for the love of God, make corner cutting strict for ranked races. But anyway, he sets the fastest lap. We start lap number 2. By lap 7, I think we had passed him. We had passed him once, and then he passed us again because of what I mentioned earlier. As you can see, his lines aren't the best in the world, so he was track extending and corner cutting to get out in front of us. He kept doing this stupid feint to the pit lane for some reason, like every single lap. Like, I wasn't quite sure what he was doing. But I wanted to get your opinion on this one, guys, here. Going into turn 1, I'm already under braking. He swipes right back out in front of us. And as you can see, he's moving as the racing line is already red there. So I'm already on the brakes, and because he moves over like that, I have to stomp on the brakes really hard, which makes us spin out. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a dirty move, moving under braking there. But anyway, we lose a little bit of time. Not surprised considering the way he was driving. I mean, I'm not quite sure. It could have been lag as well, but we didn't get the connection warning pop-up like I normally do when I have connection issues with everybody. And I don't have the icon above his name either when I'm right behind him, so I don't think it was lag, but who knows? I don't want to blame anybody. So on the same exact lap at the end, we decide to jump in to change our tires. I don't really know how we closed that gap up. We spun out, and then we got thrown back onto the track again, and we still managed to be really, really close behind him. Again, the timing might be have some desync or something like that. I don't know if the gaps were really that accurate, but pay attention to the mini-map just right under the face cam here as he's rounding, not sure what corner that is, but he's just about to pop up under the face cam as we exit the pit lane here. You can see yellow flags out, so I'm not really quite sure what happened there. I don't know if he slammed into the wall or something like that, but yellow flags come out, and it seemed like he only lost a little bit of time, but as we round the corner, and he must have slammed into the wall again if you saw the debris on the track there, because it seemed like the other mistake wasn't all that bad to have lost that much time, but we're already rounding turn 1 and he's still in the pit lane. So by the time we hit the final lap, he DNFs right at the end there. But I don't know. I know it was just a 1-on-1 versus 1 here, but a lot of stuff going on in this race that I thought was kind of funny. I don't know. Let me know what you think of that move in turn 1. If that was moving under braking or not. I was already on the brakes. If you take a look at the brake trace, I was already on brakes, and he swerves right in front of us there, and it makes us lock up and spin out. I don't know. But anyway, we ended up winning the race anyway. So no hard feelings. We got a total of, I think it was like 12 points out of this race here. So this was the first race of the week. Second race of the week, we are at Austria. I hate racing at Austria just because of what everybody likes to do going into turn 2. So we managed to qualify on pole here, and I'm pretty sure everybody else was a good distance behind us in qualifying. So we are about 2 tenths in front of P2 here. He's using a little bit of battery, and as we go up into turn 2 or turn 3 here, we get rear-ended like we always do at Austria when we race online. But fortunately for us, Mad Cow Disease decides to give us the position back. So at the very least, he gives us the position back, and people make mistakes going into that corner all the time. So at least he gave us the position and allowed us to continue racing. So we managed to get back into P1 here, P2 on the mediums. I wasn't sure if he had qualified or not. There was only a few drivers in this lobby here. I assume he qualified. I think you have to qualify for ranked online races. Like, you can't just jump in without qualifying like you did in last year's game. I'm not sure how that works or not, but anyway, 2 guys jump into the pit lane, and this driver on the mediums in P2 actually managed to stay pretty close to us. Like, we weren't pulling away. He wasn't like right behind us, but we weren't really pulling away from him or anything like that. So I was a little bit worried about once we stopped for our tire change and he got onto the softs, he might actually be close enough to maybe attack us at the end of the race. So yeah, going into lap 2 now, he's only 1.6 behind. Not great, but not terrible on the medium tires. As you can see, everybody else that started on the softs are either 5 seconds back, where they had to pit for a new front wing and get onto different tires. So one guy onto the hards, the other onto the mediums. Now, I don't know what happened to Magic Player 14. I don't think he changed out his front wing. He might have just decided to go for a really early undercut there. I don't think he had damage, and it seems like he wasn't in the pit lane for quite as long as the driver that ran into the back of us, who I think ultimately had front wing damage, so not quite sure. But yes, once we start lap number 5 here, we are about 5.8 seconds in front of P2, so we're not really pulling away, only about 1.2 seconds per lap to this guy in P2 on the medium. So I was a little bit worried at this point, because we were about to stop for new tires in about 3 laps, and he was only about a second slower than us on the mediums. But luckily for us, as we go down into turn 4, that driver DNFs, and that is pretty much it. That is the end of competition. So I know not any amazing, interesting races, but like I said, I just like to kind of keep you guys up to date on where we're at with the ranked online lobbies. I assume I have to move up a little bit higher, either to silver 2 or to gold 1, to really get some competition, but I'm working on it right now, and I just wanted to keep you guys up to date. So these are the races, and these were done in like the mid to late afternoon, so pretty much all the good drivers are asleep. Europe is asleep, so I think maybe tomorrow I'll have to try and wake up a little bit earlier and get on F123 before lunch, and then that way all the European guys will still be up and playing this game. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's episode, guys. A little bit of battling going on, but for the most part not too much going on. But I just wanted to get this up here so you guys can keep a tab on my online races. So I think we ended up getting like 12 points for race number 2, and I don't remember how many points we got for this race. I think it'll pop up at the end of the video. I think I cut it in just so I knew how many points we got. We ended up finishing like 40 seconds in front of everybody else. Yeah, I think we really need to get out of silver. So 47 points for this race. We are up to 59 now. I think we're going to move up to silver 2 if we continue on the trajectory that we are on. So yeah, hopefully some more competitive races next week. And like I said, I'll jump on again tomorrow to get some more races done. So hopefully another episode will come out tomorrow. So that's it, boys and girls. If you think I've earned it, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Remember to eat your bok choy, and I'll see you in the next one.